My name is Constantino Molinaro. I've been at this church since 1933.
And I'm Laura Molinaro, and I've been here 84 years since birth.
I'm George V. Mazzotti. I've been a member all my life. I was baptized in this church in 1922.
I'm Ruth Mazzotti, and I've been in the church since 1949.
My name is Agnes Domenico, and I just turned 80, so I've been here for 80 years.
My name is Yolanda LaRusso, and I've been coming to this church from when I was 6 years old.
I'm Alice Gazetta Nickel. We've all lived here in the neighborhood all our lives.
My name is Jim Sacamano. I've been a parishioner here essentially since my birth, born in 1948.
My name is Judy Rosenbach. My mom came over here with her family, the Molinaros, from Italy, and she arrived in 1932.
My name is Hugh Gettner. I'm a friar priest of the Order Servants of Mary. Became acquainted with Assumption Parish and the community in 1965 when I was sent here.
I am Father Gabriel Ramaciotti. I'm a Servite, and I was pastor here from 1979 to 1988.
I'm Mark Franceschini, a servant of Mary, a Servite, who had the privilege and honor of working here in this parish for several years, back in the 1990s.
Father Brian Morrow, pastor here at Assumption Church. Been here about just 4 months now.
My paternal grandparents, Antonio and Rosa Perico, settled here in Welby in 1893. And my grandfather was on the committee to build the first church here in 1912.
The parish was dedicated on May 12, 1912, and then in October of that year, the Friar Servants of Mary came here to take care of the ministerial needs. The school here was built in 1920, as well as the convent and the rectory a few years beforehand. And our Servite sisters came here from Omaha in 1920 and remained here teaching in the grade school and high school. At that time, the enrollment in 1920 was 250 students.
It's a great parish. It's still a secret to a lot of Denverites because it started off as a rural country parish with Italian-American, almost first-generation immigrants when they started coming into doing truck farming. And they built this church, and slowly it grew, but the main strength of it was not in numbers, but in the fidelity and the commitment that people had, their loyalty to the church. It was really something essential in their lives, and they were very proud of it, and they still have that great pride in their church.
The brothers of the LaRusso brothers got together, and when they built the church, and like many other families, decided on doing something with their name to the church. So they got together and donated one of the bells of the church. We had Jean Stefanski go up one day about a year ago to see if there were any inscriptions on the bells. And we found that the smallest bell, I believe it is, says LaRusso Brothers, which makes us very proud, and my dad was very proud of it.
In them days, they had a lot of sacrifice because they were all farmers, but they made that time to go to church on Sunday, regardless of how much work they had to do.
When we rebuilt this church, we had our little church first, and they were 1946 was when they remodeled this, and then the war broke out, and they cut everything out, and then after the war, I came back here again, and I started working on it and helping, and to redo this church, and we made this church here. So that was back after the war.
My favorite thing about this church, when they remodeled this church, they gave me a stick, put this 14 inches apart, they gave me 16 inches. So when I got down the end, I had an extra pew. So I had to tell them guys to take all them pews off and redo them. So that was really something.
I have some memories. One of them, of course, is when I was young. I remember Father John, one of the earlier priests here, pastors, and when Corpus Christi would come, he would have petals of flowers on the steps there, honoring the Corpus Christi Day.
The annual bazaar, my wife probably bakes 120 cakes by hand, and I mean, she will not skimp on one. Everyone's a different recipe for the cake booth. So for a 2-week period, it's like just leave the house. It'll be very still, be very quiet because something's baking the entire time.
In 1962, Father Julius was looking for somebody to play the organ, and since I always loved music and I had taught myself to play the piano, I went and asked him if I could be his organist, and he said yes. And I've been doing that now for 50 years. In fact, last Sunday was my last day because I am now retiring. Let somebody else do it.
Yeah, I met my husband over here at church. He was waiting for me on the steps. And I didn't know what to say or what to do. And I was married for 42 years, and then my husband passed away.
Well, I was very happy to be here. However, I had a few surprises soon, about a month or two after I arrived here. First of all, the parish had a $160,000 debt. Also, that the parish owed the archdiocese $50,000 in cathedraticum and insurance. So I said, well, I can't do this by myself. So we formed a finance team with the goodwill of the parishioners and with this leadership of this finance team. In 2 years, we were able to clear the debt.
This seems to be thriving and developing. In fact, what a lot of the citizens are doing with Welby Days and the Welby Historical Association, I think, is really, really cool because it's a saving of, a shining. It's like finding that old set of silver and saying, instead of saying, let's throw this away, saying, you know what? I wonder if we use some good cleaner on this. I wonder what we've got. And you say to yourself, wow, this is really a gem. And I think we're heading in that way for Assumption, and I think a lot of us in the parish are proud of that.
I know they've got a great future because the spirit is very strong, and their fidelity to the church and supporting it is bedrock strong.
Highlights faith of the people and their pride. They care for the parish. A lot of people involved. People stepping forward and say, how can we help? We want to volunteer. We have an outreach to the poor.
So I asked the Lord, and especially through the invocation of Mary under the title of Our Lady of the Assumption, that many blessings will continue to be part of this parish community in its life, not only in the sacramental presence but in education, all of its social events, and in many ways it reaches out to the community besides through St. Vincent de Paul, or ways of caring for those that are in need. And that the presence of the Servites and through the secular Servites will remain strong here for many years to come. Amen.